Welcome to Limit Series, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Limit himself, Zeke Lamone, and this is my review for Michael. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Share and leave a like, comment, let me know your thoughts on Michael, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So, to say this was a very polarizing movie that was coming out. Now, first and foremost, I will be completely transparent with y'all. I am a fan of Michael Jackson. I wouldn't say I was a super fan by any means, but I did listen to a lot of his albums growing up because they were, at the ready. My parents were pretty into him. So, I would listen to, I've listened to the Thriller album, I don't know how many times. And it never amazes me how many times I see it, because you see the track list in this movie too. It's like, God dang, man. The amount of just absolute bangers. It's an album that probably will never be touched for how many great songs there are on that record. So, I would say overall I'm a real casual fan. And, as most Michael fans, as you start to get deeper into it, you start reading a lot about him and, you feel like you know him in a lot of ways, even though he has this mystery to himself. So, to say the least, is that this movie really didn't have to do a whole lot in order for me to like it, And I will say overall, I think that is the overall I don't know what the right word is, but that's the overall reception I am seeing from the audience, is that, look, all you really needed was to see the greatest hits, right? I need to see Beat It. I need to see Thriller. I need to see Billie Jean. I need to see Bad. I need to see all of these songs in this, and I need to see these performances. And whoever plays Michael, they need to bring it, and they really need to be like Mike as they possibly can. And then whatever else you do, it's just killing up the runtime, right? And for the most part, that is what they do. This is a really basic paint by numbers types of biopic. Now, if you want to take that as a positive or if you want to take that as a negative, that's completely up to you. Because what I have come to see, because y'all, again, this review pretty late because I was on vacation last week, and I saw this with my sister in her hometown, but my equipment is here back in Texas. So this is why I'm now giving it to you. And I have been in a lot of conversations, because I did do my immediate thoughts on TikTok, is that, I am under the umbrella of that I enjoyed the movie, because that's really the first thing that always comes out when I'm going to do a review. Was I entertained? Absolutely. The music, 10 out of 10, right? Jafar Jackson as Michael. Again, you got to be like Mike. And sure enough, he was like Mike. There comes a portion in this movie where you just go, oh my God, like he really does like him. Like he takes your breath away. Like it's not even just with, how he talks like Mike. It's just, towards the end, there is a moment where he just turns, he just looks at you. And I just went, oh my God. And my sister's like, I missed it. What happened? I was like, he just really does look like Michael in a lot of ways. It goes past the dancing. It goes past the singing. It goes past the talking. It's just down to the little aneurysms that this dude has. Like he really did became Michael Jackson in a lot of ways. And you just get lost in it. You forget that you're watching Jafar in a lot of ways. And I mean that really complimentary. Also, Coleman Domingo, y'all know I'm a huge fan of his work. This might be his best work that he's done. Playing Joe Jackson as his father, a really intimidating presence. He really brings this like uneasiness into the film. Now, I watched this in a pretty decent sized crowd, and I mean a very, not reactionary, but just really playing along throughout the whole entire film. Every time this dude came in, or any time someone said Joseph, you felt the tension in the room slip, and you go, oh shit, here we go. Like, you just got really uncomfortable knowing this guy was about to be around the corner. And again, that's just a testament to what Coleman Domingo does. Now, I've seen some conversations, because usually I like to stay away from everything before going into it, and I saw some people saying that he was one note. I will say Jafar as Michael was one note, and that goes into some of my criticism of the film. But to me, Coleman Domingo played a excellent way with a bunch of layers, because at face value, the dude's a son of a bitch, right? Like he is really mean. You are scared of him. You are intimidated by him. The power that this man has over him and the control that he wants to have over the family is really, very antagonistic, right? But at his core, and they do show that, like they don't make it front face value by any means. You're kind of able to close in the gaps within his performance of like, look, y'all success, I did that. I wanted this for y'all. I brought y'all to this. I didn't want to be in that. And also later on when, Jackson has the injury from the Pepsi issue, which I'm sure you know, and if you don't know, I guess spoilers for the Michael movie. But yeah, he gets injured and, he's asking, is my son going to be able to perform again? And, we're supposed to take it as, oh, he's just thinking about that dollar value, right? And overall, maybe that is his main point, but he does say, no, I know my son, and I know my son's happiness is that he's going to be able to get back on that stage. I do think he's right in those scenarios, and they play with those really nicely where you just go, man, I hate the guy, but he's not wrong. And again, Coleman Domingo, the way that he's able to present that, yeah, sure, at the end of the day, is it a form of gaslighting? Maybe, but I really did like all the layers that he brought to it. Now, heading into my criticisms of it, because overall, the music is great. The cuts, like there are some scenes, like from the Thriller music video, that are literally shot by shot, and seeing it in the IMAX theater with that sound and that picture, it's a hell of a time, right? It is great. I am dancing. The people are clapping along. We are going, man, we are like really, really into it the whole entire way. And that is enough for this movie to get to a passing grading for me. But I am going to grade this like a B when I knew this could have been an A or an A+. And one of my main criticism when it comes to this film is that Michael is just a little too perfect for me. I like my heroes. My villains can be as one note as possible to me, to be completely honest for you. But I like my heroes to be with a little bit of depth to them. I say as I have like the biggest force of good on my shirt. But what I've read about Michael is about how much a perfectionist that he is and how hands-on that he was with the whole entire process. He couldn't just perform. He couldn't just do his role for the most part. He was very much into, creating the choreography, creating the notes, being within the production, being within post-production. If there was a music video, it wasn't just him being in front of the camera. It was also him being behind the camera. It was also, again, that post-production editing within the video. Like, that's how hands-on, that's how perfect he had everything that he needed everything to be. And within that, you create this culture where, yeah, maybe sometimes he was a little bit difficult to work with. And overall, we touch on it. We don't really fully go into it. And I really wanted to explore that creative mind of Michael, that creative tension that he has. Because overall, this is what happens when it comes to us having to see the creative mind in a little bit. Again, we touch on it. There is a great scene where, he gets this tune and he goes downstairs and, he starts singing and he's starting to put it all together. And, then he gives out a call, then all of a sudden the song is there. Like, oh, he already got it. It's perfect. Boom. We know. It's almost like in a way where in the production meetings they were going, look, we know where the story is going. Why do we need to embellish in it, right? If we can make this movie shorter, we can get some more butts and seats because then we have more time slots for the film. So, let's just get to the point already. Yeah, he got the creative idea. The Thriller music video, where at first, they have him up because that's traditionally where they have him. You just see him from the waist up and he's going, no, cut, let's take a moment. No, everyone else is great. No, I want to see the whole entire camera. I just want to see a little bit of debate, with directors, with producers to be like, no, we should have this note here. No, we're going to do it like this. And sure enough, is Michael right when he makes those notes? Absolutely, but I would have liked to see a little bit creative tension just to give that man a little bit more layers. Now, he's not all the way perfect, but I just didn't like the whole idea of like, if he had an idea, everyone was like, oh man, he's amazing. He's a creative genius, which he was. He is arguably the greatest pop star to ever live. No one even comes close. We have our generation's versions of it, but no one touches Michael Jackson, right? So I'm not saying, no, some ideas of his were wrong. I would have liked to have seen the challenge and what he was willing to go through in order to make sure those were right, whether though he's doing it with as much grace as they show him on screen, or if he had to get a little ugly and he had to show his dad's side in some ways, and that Joseph side of Michael Jackson has to come out in order to make sure his ideas got to come through. Whether he was right, which he was, if he did it in some wrong ways, I would have liked to seen it that way. And that's where I think the movie really starts to fall flat a little bit, because again, Michael is just coasting through and everything that he is doing is right. And everyone in the background, minus Coleman Domingo as Joseph, is really just a placeholder in a lot of ways, just for Jafar to really bounce off of. You know, his mom kind of has a good presence. His bodyguard has a nice presence. But the other brothers of the Jackson Five don't have no presence whatsoever. Janet's not in the movie at all. Which I do believe that what I've read is that she did not want to be involved within the project whatsoever, so they kept her out. But still, you know what I mean? Like, Janet's non-existent. All the other Jackson brothers are kind of just there to fill in a role. They have dialogue every once in a while. But, you know, we're leading up to this victory tour, which is where this movie basically culminates, right? And when we get to that moment of when, you know, when we get to a moment, if you will, and the brothers are kind of looking around like, what's going on? I really wanted to see what their point of view of it was. Was it a look of celebration? Was it a look of frustration? Was it a look of whatever, right? And I just would have liked to see a little bit more layers as opposed to just, well, this is right for Michael, so hell yeah for Michael. Which at the end of the day, I still did. It still got a reaction out of me, and it got a reaction out of my theater, but it could have just been a little bit more. And that's where, where my main kinships come in from this film is that, look, you went for a B, you could have had an A. And you knew you could have had an A. And I also know about some of the troubles they had post-production, where they had to reshoot and they had to spend like, I think $15 million because of what they originally wanted the third act to be about, which was one of my main concerns going into the film. Not that they shouldn't talk about it. I just thought that's one of the reasons why I thought a Michael Jackson biopic just wasn't possible to make, because you either talk about it and you piss off a lot of people, you talk about it and then you piss off a lot of people, or you talk about it and you pick a side and then you piss off a lot of people, right? That's just kind of where I sat. Now, obviously I'm wrong. They chose not to talk about this because of legal matters for it that surprisingly the Jackson estate forgot that they had a legal dispute on, which I don't know about, but neither here or there. But you could tell there was some restructuring of the story as the movie goes on, because once we do get to the end, it kind of just ends. And, you know, they do say his story continues. They plan on doing a sequel for the film. They're going to do it. It's had an amazing opening weekend, and the movie is very entertaining. But that is another criticism of the film too, is that the movie just kind of ends, and I do feel like I watched half of a film in a lot of ways. And honestly, I could have gone for that 4-hour cut. Even as people were walking out of the theater when we were seeing it, they were going, that movie felt very short. And I'm just like, dude, you almost in there for like, you were in there for like 2 hours and 30 minutes. Like, so needless to say, again, the movie is good. And I have to say that multiple times, because a lot of people, now that I'm going into it, are saying, oh, he didn't like the movie, which I hate this whole narrative that either everything has to be amazing about it if you think it was good, or therefore it automatically sucks. No, this movie was good. It could have been great. And that's where my problems come in with the film. So therefore, if I had to rank this on a lemon scale, where it goes sour lemon at the bottom, expired store-bought lemonade, bad movie, but hey, there are some good qualities to it. Store-bought lemonade, good, but hey, there is some bad. Lemonade, it's a movie. Freshly squeezed lemonade, very good, minor problems. And then strawberry lemonade at the very top, because that is the best kind of lemonade. Michael, to me, is a lemonade. And it could have easily been freshly squeezed, and it could have even really been flirting with strawberry in a lot of ways, because again, it is real paint by numbers. 3 out of 5 stars if you were part of that. Again, it's a B that it could have been an A. It could have even flirted with an A plus if they would have just dug into it a little bit more, as opposed to, hey, play it safe, we'll hit the high notes and we'll get up out of there scot-free, which overall, it did work out for them. But again, I saw much more potential in there within the creative, not just because of Michael himself, but within the filmmakers within this too, and they had the talent around them to do just that. So therefore, yeah, again, it's a good movie that could have been great. And those are my thoughts on the film. Comment below, let me know your thoughts on it. Leave a like if you made it this far in the review. I do greatly appreciate it, and hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short enough to give you all. So squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.